And the oracle says, find out a little bit more about where we go someplace else. Let's see. I don't know whether it's parallel to waypoint or whether we're going to take a suffer move, but let's find out a little bit more about where we go, and from there we can sort of figure out, like, see where we end up, and then from there I can figure out whether or not which one I want. So we're going to be, again, we're out in the Outlands, and we're going to see what the oracle has to say. And the oracle says, a dense nebula cloud. I like it. It's cool. I don't think we have a nebula cloud floating around here anywhere, do we? Meridian Station kind of looks like. So the question then becomes, is this, do I run into a threat here, or is it something like I burn a bunch of supplies because I need to like repair the ship, and also we take a bunch of time trying to get out of the nebula far enough to be able to actually jump? I can't decide. So, spaceborne peril? Inspiration for a trouble on an interstellar journey. Stellar anomaly emits hazardous energies. It's a nebula. They're radioactive as fuck. So, yeah? Okay. Now, the interesting thing about taking breaks, and you should always take breaks, especially when you're doing solo play, I think. You can only, the reason, and you'll notice, I mean, most of these game sessions that I record are pretty short once they go out. Most of them aren't more than an hour. And some are really short, 20 minutes or something like that. They're longer than that. I obviously cut them down. If you guys ever watch, you see that I'm cutting out all the dead space and stuff like that. But you should always take breaks, because your brain will just stop making good ideas for you. And you just want to kind of, chill. So that's one good reason to take a break. Another really excellent reason to take a break is you will think of a better idea. So what we had come up there is that we come into this nebula, and harmful energies threaten the ship. And I thought, oh, okay, radiation. It's radiation in the ship. And it's been a couple days, and I have very good ideas when I first wake up, often, about whatever. But in this case, it was about the game. There are lots of ways for energies to threaten the ship. So we are going to go with one that occurred to me a few days later after the session wrapped up. And that's where we're going to start. So we've arrived in the nebula. We come out of the nebula. We're taking a few readings. So we're going to say that Kay comes rushing onto the bridge in the suit, right? And comes rushing on. And I kind of turn as they're coming, because I hear the clump, clump, clump. I've never heard Kay run before. They're barely very good at walking in the suit. And they're not good at running. They come in and they just look janky as hell. And it's honestly a little bit creepy to look at. And there's Earl, you have to come. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with the word you called them, the babies. Something's wrong with the babies. There's something here. I can feel it, but it's my suit is stopping it. I can feel it, and it's making them sick. Earl, you have to come. Okay, I'm coming. Zeb, scan for radiation signatures or something. What's going on? And I start running, and I'm on the comms with Zeb as they are taking readings on all of this, whatever this information is here, like just taking all the radiation scans. Because it's nebula, it makes sense that there would be radiation. We were scanning for it. Everything read reasonably clean. The ship is shielded, obviously. No immediate harm, and we should be able to get out of here long before there should be any kind of problem. Zeb reports that they're not getting any additional readings of anything that should be harmful. Anything that's coming into the ship seems to be benign. But they are reading dangerous energy fluctuations from both of the canisters that are currently containing the, I think of them, you know what, I've got something I can show you for this. My daughter has this, somebody gave her this lantern for Christmas last year, and it's like a flashlight, right? You can do this thing, but it also can lift and be a lamp, and then they hand painted it, which is, adorable and whatever. But this is how I picture the container for at least the one that Paladin gave me, and probably for both of them, is that it's sort of like a sealed container that can also be lifted up. And when you open it and expose it, then the energy being within is like visible and shining out through the clear crystal that it's contained in, and then you can use it to do whatever. Cool prop, huh? So that's where I'm thinking of this thing, and Zeb is showing this fluctuation energy from both of these canisters. They're probably down. We'd probably put them in probably in the med bay. Honestly, it's not appropriate necessarily, but you know, there are worse places to put them. I feel like, you know, it really makes sense to put them. So let's say we put them in the med bay, even though it's not really the most, but it's close enough to the engineering and stuff where I can use tools and that sort of thing for it. Anyway, I'm going down there, and Zeb is telling me all of this stuff. And so something, and as Kay says that they can feel something, but the suit is shielding them, which would say that whatever I did to sort of shield that suit so that we're not dying from whatever energies K is emitting is also protecting K from this stuff, but it's not working for these smaller things, which are A, weaker, and B, it's a different kind of thing. And I was going to do something for these things at some point when I got into a better situation, but I don't think I have the option of it. Zeb, how fast can we jump out of here? Well, we need to get clear of the Nebula influence before we can really safely jump. We can't lock onto the Eidolon drift from this far into the Nebula, so we need to get clear. We can't jump immediately. Okay, do that, and I'll see if I can do something here with these guys. So what I'm going to do here, we're gonna get back into Earl's sheet, and I'm going to try to. I get down in there and I can see. Well, this is potentially going to be harmful to me, but I don't really have time to get my suit on, so we're just going to try to have to work on something. Okay, keep an eye on them here. I'm going to grab some tools really quick, and I am going to look at my assets. It's not necessarily a move. Well, it's going to tell me what move I need to use. So I'm not repairing. I'm kind of modifying equipment, which would possibly be gearhead, but with sufficient time in a couple hours or more. I don't love that. You can assemble or enhance a device for a powerful but limited role. When you make a move to craft, repair, repurpose, or modify equipment or technology, add +1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm modifying because I'm still not in a place where I can like make a suit because we don't have any more spare suits, and these things aren't probably big enough to be in them. But we have a container. We need to make it better. So I need to reinforce based on what the thing does versus what the suit does. So I'm making some calculations based off of that, and it's sort of a mix of these two gearhead moves, right? One of them is just me making the modification. One of them is like assembling or enhancing some device for a powerful but limited role, which is exactly what it is. It's just the on a hit, this will make a automatic strong hit. But you know, on a hit, the device is ready for use, and one time only. When you or an ally make a move aided by the device, take an automatic strong hit, which I'll save. I mean, this is not if you're in a fight also mark. How if you're in a fight also mark progress? If I'm in a fight, oh, if I use it in a fight, also mark progress. I'm like, I can't construct this in a fight. This is going to take hours. Anyway, doesn't matter. Sorry. My own confusion. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to gather together all this stuff, and then I'm going to build it here. I'm going to work as fast as I can, but some of this is going to have to go to the container, and on the containers, I'm going to have to do that there. And I'm just, Zeb is telling me that I have to get on, like I should get in the suit, so I'm shielded, and I'm explaining that I'm just not going to have time to do that. And some of the work that I have to do is like fine control work and stuff like that, and I can't do that inside of the big meaty gloves of the suit and stuff, not easily and not quickly, so I'm just going to have to suck it up and deal with this thing. So I am modifying equipment or technology, so we're going to go into the moves. I'm going to take a +1 on that roll, and we're going to look at expertise. I'm going to roll it as a face danger. Why not? Okay, so face danger, hit the roll, acting with wits, and a +1, submit. Oh, I don't know. What do we think about the dice rolling? Is it fun? I kind of like it. I mean, it's always had this. The Roll20 has always had the dice rolling. It turned itself back on somehow and is acting pretty nicely. It hasn't always been as smooth as this. All right, so looking at let's get the dice roller up here so I can actually see it. And I'll turn on the dice box, and what we got? Face danger. Okay. So I got a 7 against a 901, so that gives me a weak hit. I can burn momentum to get a strong hit. On a weak hit, you succeed, but not without cost. Make a suffer move. I think actually I'm going to take the weak hit because I want the hit. I want the thing, but I also kind of want the suffer. I kind of want the suffer move because I think that I am not putting on my suit and I'm going over and fiddling with these containers while they're unstable and the creatures within are unstable, and I'm soaking up some energy that is not good for me. So I think I'm actually going to do that suffer move of -1 against my. I'm going to take harm. I face physical injury, fatigue, or illness. So I am doing that, and my health is going to drop down to a 4 as I deal with all this. So, but I am probably going to roll endure. I am going to roll to endure harm on this to see. It's going to hurt initially, but I'm going to see if I can shake it off afterwards. So what happens here? So I'm bringing in some extra shielding, some extra circuitry, some stuff that I know I used in the suit, and I'm kind of going broad spectrum on this. I don't know exactly what it is I have in the suit that this thing doesn't have, so I'm kind of trying to simulate as much as I can, and I end up with this whole extra bulky, like I've got this nice little canister, and now there's like a whole additional thing like clamped. Oh, the bottom of this is magnetic. Like, so there's like this whole additional thing like clamped onto the bottom of it. It's like this janky little thing with tubes and batteries and wires and stuff coming off of it. And it's wired onto this thing to reinforce it. And it powers up, and my face stops feeling like it's itching and burning, and that's probably a good sign. So Zeb tells me that they're getting stabilization, and I'm kind of like, cool, excellent, that's fantastic. And I turn around and puke right through the grating of the floor. Not a great sign. So I'm going to get out of the room. And I'm going to roll my health as I recover from this, and we're going to cut to like sort of me in another room, like laying back and like and doing this thing, and let's see if I recover from this thing. So and we'll take a look at that. That's a 1 on my dice, so probably not great. And ooh, that's terrible. That is a full miss on the endure harm. Yikes. And with I could burn momentum, and even burning momentum will only get me a weak hit, which isn't great. So when so if I choose somewhere and a miss is worse than I thought, suffer an additional health or lose momentum. If your health is at 0, you must also mark. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. So okay, so it's worse than I thought. Do I knock my health down to 3, or do I take some momentum hit? I think I'm gonna take a momentum hit. I like that better. I don't like either one of them, but at least this way I can kind of, I don't need to get too far in the hole on the health. Because if I'm mending my own wounds, I'm rolling plus iron or wits, and my iron, whichever is lower, and my iron is crap. You know what? No, I'm actually gonna, let's keep my momentum at 10. I'm gonna take the health down to 3. Not awesome. And so I kind of come to a period of time later, and I'm like, water. And Z kind of, or K kind of hands me, a container, like with the 2 hands, because not good with the suit. And I kind of get it and just, Zeb, where are we? We are moving. We're en route to get out of the nebula. We're still not completely clear of the nebula. We will be soon. How are you feeling, Earl? Are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. And I kind of roll off, let's say the bed. They had me in my quarters or something like that, or nearby quarters or something. And yeah, I'm good. And I kind of roll off, and instead of sitting up, which was my intent, I kind of roll off the bed, and I kind of try to catch myself on my feet, but then I go down to my knees, and I kind of cough, and I cough like 2 or 3 times, like lightly, and then I cough really, really hard, and I cough again really hard, and there's like a big old clump of bloody onto the floor. And more of that. I'm not okay. I am not okay. And Zeb is saying something that kind of comes in and out, where he's like, yelling about me getting to medbay, and I'm trying to protest that I can't go to medbay because the canisters are in there and it's not safe, because I've completely forgotten that I fixed that. And Kay's trying to get me up, and I'm trying to move. And we kind of like, I finally kind of get up, and then we kind of cut to me sort of dropping myself back onto one of the med things. And these things, the canisters are sitting over there. I kind of look at them. They're over there at one of the tables, but they're closed down, and the little thing is pulsing, and it's like, okay, that's good. It's like, radiation in here isn't dangerous. And I'm like, no, everything is stable here except for you, Earl. You need to activate I'm activating the virtual assistant, but you need to follow the thing. We don't have an automated medical system. You need to follow the instructions and do what it tells you to do. Are you going to be able to do that? Z or K, can you do it? Like, I can try. I can't read your language. No, it's fine. I can, I can do it. I can do it. It's fine. Just give me the, and I'm trying to like adjust the screen. It's like one of those when you're at the dentist office and they've got that light that shines and it's on the gimbal, like the little adjustable arm. So I'm trying to get the screen where I can focus on. My eyes won't focus. You get up in the morning and your eyes just won't, like, it doesn't matter how many times you blink them, they just won't go. And it's like that. So I'm just fighting to get this thing in, and I'm trying to find the stuff. It's not quite as bad as like the scene from Firefly where Mel's shot. Mal is shot and he's trying to do the adrenaline thing with the big needle or whatever, but it is not great. And I'm struggling here to try to get this thing done. And so I'm trying to mend my own wounds through a series of stabilizing shots. We'll call it like some steroid shots because of the damage done internally, probably some anti-rad medication, fast healing stuff to accelerate the healing process, blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. The crew of the writing team makes up a whole bunch of technobabble for all this stuff and puts it on all the labels, and the practical props people had to do a bunch of work with getting the labels on here and stuff. I am going to mending my own wounds is iron, in my case because it's lower, which sucks. Ugh. Alright, so my iron is I'm going to guess is a 1. Yeah, it sure is. Alright, great, love that for me. Just trying to get a decent hit on this one. Now, if this ends up this will probably end up beating me up even more, but hopefully I don't make it even worse. That would suck. So let's find out. Watch the dice roll over there. What's going to happen? Okay, I almost don't want to look. What do we got? Okay. Oh boy, that's another miss. That is another that is another miss. But in this case, I can burn my momentum for a strong hit. You have probably noticed that I have a reluctance to burn momentum when all I'm going to get is a mixed success. Like I like a weak hit. I don't, because at that point in time, I'd almost rather have the fail and just see what happens rather than everything else. But in this case, I'm already down to health of +3. And on a miss, the aid is ineffective and the situation gets even worse. Pay the price. I do not love that, and honestly, it's kind of a dumb thing to do because I have a momentum of 10. There is no reason for my situation to get any worse than it already is. I can simply deal with this. So I am going to deal with this because any other option here sounds pretty bad. So we're going to burn the momentum. That functionally gives me a roll of 10 on this, which gets me up to a strong hit. Now, a strong hit, the care is helpful. If I'm wounded, clear the impact, or I take +2 health. Otherwise, I get +3 health. I would get +3 health. I'm not going to get +3 health because I can't take +3 health. I can only have the 2, but I'm going to take +2. That's going to get me back up here. But I'm going to say that I actually probably pass out after the treatments and stuff like that. And I'm just out of it for a long while. And by the time I come to, we are well out of the nebula. I've been in the med bay the entire time, and Zeb and Kay have basically been just taking care of things, talking in the background and stuff like that. And while I've been asleep, I think I've been hearing things. Like I've had dreams where it's almost like there's been two whispering children in the room this whole time. When I wake up, I don't hear anything, but I've been hearing like these two children talking to each other, like they're getting to know each other, and also like they're talking about me, and they're talking about Kay, and they're talking about this ship that they're on. And when I wake up, I almost expect to see some children there, and I don't, but I do kind of expect it. It's a little bit of a surprise when they're not there. Zeb, Earl, you're awake. Are you feeling better? You're doing much better. Your vitals are much better. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better actually. I don't remember putting the IV in my arm. Although I might have done it when I was unconscious, given how it was done. Oh, no. Kay did that. So apologies if it wasn't. I will apologize if it was not done well. My motor controls are non-existent. As such, I really just can only. It's a force of will to move the limb. I'm not sure how all of you do it. Well, it's technically also a force of will for us, but I think we're a little bit better equipped for it. Thank you. Given how difficult it had to have been for you, I think you did a fine job. And the bruising will fade over time, I'm sure. Let me get back up to the bridge, and we'll get this jump going. Oh, no worries. Please stay there and rest. I'm about to engage the Eidolon drive, and we will begin the drift on the way to Lagrange. We should be quite close when we arrive. Are you sure? I'm a little bit weirded out by the fact that Zeb's just gonna jump the ship without me standing there, but yes, I should be fine as long as you're all right with it. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's your ship as much as more your ship than mine. Honestly, it's practically your body. So, by all means, Zeb, pull the trigger. So, once again, in the interest of staying away from the Titan, now, in all of that with the Nebula and all the complications and stuff like that, I probably could have advanced the threat on the progress chart, but I kind of like what happened instead. So, I don't feel the need to have done that. I'm fine with it. And we are going to do one more jump here. But we're still trying to avoid the Titan, so we're still going to stay with the stealth. Maybe not. Well, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to jump. I would do one more thing. Might as well throw another roll in here. Let's say that Zeb has done a lot of extra calculations because they're a little unsure of themselves, not having the reassurance of there's a person here, there's Earl that's telling me what to do. This. So we're going to say that they have done a sort of an extra couple of reads on the calculations and stuff like that to secure an advantage before they jump. And we're going to do this one. When you do secure an advantage with the ship, you get to roll the ship's integrity instead. So I'm going to do that. And that would be, I'm just going to say I'm going to roll my spirit because it's the same thing. That's a strong hit on the secure an advantage, which is great. So on a secure an advantage, and it gives me a +1 on the momentum. Secure an advantage. On a strong hit, I get both of these, +2 momentum and a +1 on my next move, which is great. And that actually, with the extra +1 on the momentum, gets my momentum back up to a 5, and a +1 on the next move means that we are going to do that. But what I'm going to do, since Zeb is really taking the lead on this one, I kind of feel like the jump really should be wits for the undertaken expedition maneuver. We're staying vigilant. We're rolling wits for this. We're gonna take a +1. So my shadow stat is better than my wits. My wits isn't terrible. My shadow stat is better, but it's made up for the +1. But I also lose the cloaking thing because if I'm not rolling shadow, I don't really think I can say that I'm trying to avoid. I also like the story of it being Zeb just doing all this kind of stuff, so we're just going to go with this, and hopefully it doesn't kick me in the face. That is a strong hit, and I will take it. That is an 8 against a 7 and a 5, and I am more than happy to go with that way. Strong hit, you reach the waypoint, envision the location, and mark progress. That's going to get me up to an 8 on the progress, and I am going to conclude. The idea here is that we are arriving at Lagrange in the system, and I'm going to conclude the getting from Dead Rock to Lagrange without passing through the Glimmerhope system. I'm going to conclude this right now before checking anything else because I feel like this will inform how we arrive or whether we arrive, because if we totally fail this, then that's a whole different thing. And we're just going to conclude this and see how it goes. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even looking over here. I'm scared. Oh, fuck me. Okay, that's a that is a full miss. An 8 against a 10 and a 9. You know, even if I'd have done one more jump on this thing, like pushed it even further, I still would have only been a weak hit. All right, so I got a strong hit to arrive to finish the thing, and then I get from the oh god dang it. All right, so I think let's go back to the moves. Finish an expedition. When your expedition comes to an end, roll the challenge dice and compare it to your progress. Try not to swear too much. No. On a miss, your destination is lost to you, or you come to understand the true nature or the cost of the expedition. Destination, it doesn't make it. That I don't think is relevant in this case. The destination is lost to you, or you come to understand the true nature or cost of the expedition. Envision what happens, and choose one. So what we know about the jump is it was done correctly, right? We know that. Zeb did a good job. Okay, but everything is sideways, and as we learn from the move, my options here are either abandoning the expedition entirely, or I return to the expedition, some numbers come off, and I have to move it up to the next difficulty up the ladder, which means I got to make more successes to get anywhere where I need to go. The move got a lot more complicated. The trip got a lot more complicated. So what we're gonna do is we go back over here to progress. I rolled an 8 and a 1 on the challenge dice, so I take the lowest challenge dice and I remove one of those. So I remove one box of countdown of progress. I'm going to add one to the countdown clock, I think. And then I'm going to go back over here to the map, and we're going to say, okay, so here's what happens. We're not using the stealth technology. Whether Zeb wasn't comfortable with it or simply forgot because they were working on all the calculations or whatever, but we weren't using it, so we weren't staying under the radar. And we're activating the Eidolon drive, and suddenly the Titan is there. Like, it's just there. Like, and Zeb is yelling about this thing over the comms and saying, the Titan is here, Earl. The Titan, I don't even know. It was nowhere near here, but the Titan is here. And right about then, the Eidolon drive activates, and it activates essentially what we see from the outside is like the drifting, the entering into the Eidolon drift passes through the corona of the Titan. I keep saying Titan, the Tempest. I keep saying Titan. I mean, certainly there's probably something they call it, but the Tempest, and it passes through the corona of the Tempest, and that throws everything, whether it's intentional, and I kind of like the idea that it's intentional, or not, it is bad, and it throws us off, strongly throws us off from where we thought we were going, and we do not arrive. We get thrown off in the middle of space, and we're in no charted area at all, and we're not even, I'm not even entirely sure where we are relative to this. So for right now, we're just going to set the Zebulon over here on the side because we don't know where we are. We can kind of chart in broad terms based on the stars and the various celestial bodies, like where we need to go to get back to a somewhat known area. But when we arrive, first of all, we pass through the Eidolon drift not in hours, but in seconds, and we go in and out, and we come out nowhere near where we were, just far faster than we ought to be able to have gone in this situation, and we come out in the wrong place. Like, we're in there for maybe minutes, and and it's pretty wild and crazy and probably chaotic, and there's a lot of yelling and me scrambling to try to get to the bridge and getting bounced off against walls and stuff like that. And when we come out, we come out much too fast. It would have probably in normal situation only been enough to get us out, barely out of the star system where we were, but in this case, we're nowhere near where we were. So who can say whether this was intentional or not? And now we are at least one or two jumps away from Lagrange, where we want to get to, and have to figure out how to get back. And that's how we come out. It's like, are we still in the same system? No, we're nowhere near the same system, Earl. Where the hell are we? I don't know. And that's where we're going to stop. Stranded in the middle of unknown space. Not stranded, but lost in space. Good show. I need to go back and watch season 3. But yeah, we're lost in space and still trying to get to Lagrange, which either the Tempest just found us and fucked with things by virtue of just messing with us, or is purposely trying to keep us away from Lagrange, which would be an interesting thing if true, and really not having any idea where in the blazes we are. Although, you know what, before we wrap up, I am going to make one more roll, and I'm going to say the Oracle. Hypergiant generating turbulent solar winds. Hypergiant. I don't even have a hypergiant on the map, and they're big, so you'd know. No idea where we are. I'm just going to put this thing up in the middle of, like, up on the edge of this, and put this over next to it. Yeah, that's super. All right, so we're at a hypergiant in the middle of. So we got this Meridian Station is like this nebulous born star, and that's where these things, these tempests and the rays and the wisps are probably born from, and that one of them's chasing us down, and then it fiddles with us in our jump, and we end up at a hypergiant, another weird star anomaly thing. Does that feel like not a coincidence to anybody else? Because it feels like not a coincidence to me. It feels like very much not a coincidence to me. It feels like something meant to be something. So we're going to have to think about that, because I feel like that probably matters. That is probably something. And like I said at the beginning, this is an excellent time to take a break so I can let my brain turn this over and over and see where we're going to end up and what we're going to do. I still want to get to Lagrange, but for some reason Maybe the Tempest doesn't want us to get to Lagrange. Or maybe it doesn't even know where we're going and it just wants us to go here. If so, why? Or maybe it doesn't care and it just wanted to throw our ship into the middle of a star. If so, why? I have questions. And unfortunately, the thing that I want answers from probably doesn't even understand me in a way that's useful. I love this game. I love this game so much. Why did I stop playing for 8 months? This is stupid. I'm dumb. Thank you, Sean, for the great game, and thanks everybody else for listening and hanging out with me here. I'm having a great time. I hope you are too. And I'll see you next week. I think so. Next week, yeah. I'm trying to plan things out because I'm going on a trip for the New Year's. I'm going to be gone for about a week, but I should have a game session queued up to go, so we won't have any pause, even though I will also be near a sunny hypergiant in another country, getting warm because it's been hyper cold here. But after this session goes, yeah, the next session I will probably not be in the country at the time, but I will be. But it should go up and everything like that. So I am taking care of you guys. I'm going to make sure that we have sessions popping off, even if I'm not around to actually record one that week. So we're going to get ahead of the game a little bit and get this thing out. Thanks very much again. And since I won't see you on the day of, Happy New Year. Thanks, guys.